Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 1991 here doing my weekly comic book pick. However, none of the weekly comic books that I read this week really stuck out for me. A lot of them were pretty much continuing main stories that were going on. Others were just not that exciting to read. I really didn't have a particular favorite of my weekly books to pick this week for video. So instead, what I decided to do is briefly talk about a graphic novel I read, and that is Superman Unchained. Now, I did originally read this series when it came out monthly, issue by issue, but there were a lot of delays, so there really wasn't a steady schedule for the series. Ultimately, though, I did read it and I thought it was pretty good. But now I've had the opportunity to reread it in trade form, and I like it a lot. It is a very good Superman story, and I think that's something that you can give to a casual Superman fan because it's very self-contained. It doesn't really connect it to anything else going on in the comics. It's all pretty much self-contained. The only thing that I think you would have to understand is that this was part of the New 52, and this was during the period that Clark Kent quit his job at the Daily Planet. But basically the entire plot of the story is that Superman discovers that the a faction of the general government, led by General Sam Lane, apparently has their own alien. This faction is called the Machine, and the alien in question is called Wraith. And apparently Wraith landed on Earth 75 years ago, and he has powers similar to Superman's, and they're pretty much powered by the same source, Earth's yellow sun. However, because Wraith has been on the planet longer, he's had more time to master, and also has a bunch of other abilities that Superman has yet to understand. Eventually, though, Superman, when a techno-terrorist group called Ascension starts to appear, Superman and Wraith team up, and eventually the two aliens do come into conflict with each other. That ultimately ends when Wraith's entire race shows up to attack the planet. Now, this was a pretty good... Now, like I said, it's a really awesome storyline. It's very self-contained, so you don't really need to know a lot going into it. It's written by Scott Snyder, who has an epic Batman run and is currently writing Dark Knight's Metal. Also, the artwork is by Jim Lee, so you know it looks good. Honestly, if you just want a good quick Superman story that you can just read it the entire way through and just be done with it, then I would say Superman Unchained is the story for you. Also, fun fact, this title was first published during Superman's 75th anniversary, and it's funny because there's an Easter egg to this when General Sam Lane says that we've got the real Superman, aka Wraith, here with us, and he's been working for us for 75 years. So that's a fun little nod to that. But overall, I think if you're a Superman fan, casual or hardcore, then you should definitely give Superman Unchained a try. It really isn't a standard pick of the week, but I feel like it's a good alternative for me still doing a weekly comic book video, but instead of talking about something weekly, in case I don't have anything, I can just talk about a trade I read, which I think is a good idea. If you want me to do more of these types of videos, let me know in the comments below. Remember, stay subscribed and notified by clicking the bell icon. Follow me on my social media. The links are in the description below. Thanks again for watching. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.